Michael Cohen, this is the former attorney, former fixer of Donald Trump, testified today in this hush money case, this hush money trial that is happening in New York right now. So he was calm, he was collected, but that is because this was the prosecution talking to him, and he's one of their witnesses. And so we're going to see what happens when the defense gets a shot at him. He is a very animated type of guy. He can flip out. So it's going to probably be a wild thing when the cross examination happens. But today, on day one of his testimony, Michael Cohen walked jurors through Trump's connection to the Stormy Daniels deal. Now, many folks will say, it's hush money is not a crime. Why are they making a big deal about this hush money? But it's never the action. It's always the cover up. So the action in itself was not a crime, but the way that they chose to cover it up, the way that they attempted to shield it, that is the crime. That is the crime. The way they tried to shield it. So Donald Trump, very angry today about Michael Cohen taking the stand. Michael Cohen, coincidentally, is more like a son. He's more like Trump than Trump's kids. They had a very close relationship for years and years. And he went to jail for his actions in this. But today, Cohen explained how he worked with the then Trump organization chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, in January 2017 to devise a scheme for how Michael Cohen, would be reimbursed for the Stormy Daniels hush money payment and get additional bonus pay. So they're trying to cover up an affair that had happened at this point, 11 years prior. But it initially was going down right before the election. And this point is right before, he's taken office, or right after he's taken office in January of 2017. And so it's, I don't know. It's one of those things that I just don't understand why he didn't just let it go, right? It's one of those things that Trump gets in his own way, right? Whether it's ego or his bombast, the character that he plays, he gets in his own way. But this repayment scheme is at the heart of Trump's charges in this case. Like I said, it's never the actions. It's just usually the cover up. The cover up. How did they cover up? And so the steps that they took to cover up this repayment is what turns this to a crime. Is what turns this into a crime. So you can point to the crime. It's not like with Marilyn Mosby where there is no crime and they're just trying to make it a crime. This is campaign finance violations. Now, because of the length of time since it happened, that's the most that they can get. Now, folks will say like this is a stretch. And whether it is or whether it isn't, whether he's found innocent, or whether he's acquitted or whether he's found guilty, I think the fact that he is being held to account is a good thing. Now, whether he will, be found guilty, I don't know. I have my suspicions about one of the jurors. I think is a Trump supporter, one of the jurors. That juror said that they get their news from Truth Social, which is Trump's website, and they get their news from X.com, which is formerly Twitter. So that's a Trump supporter right there. Right? That's all. That's the only place they get their news from. Yeah, that's a Trump supporter right there. So I don't think that there's any information that they can put in front of that juror that they're going to say, oh, Trump's guilty. So I think he's going to walk on this personally. But this repayment scheme was at the heart of today's testimony. And after their meeting, Cohen said the duo went to Trump's office, where the then president did not try to negotiate, and approved a plan to provide Cohen a total of $420,000 paid in monthly installments. So as you probably know, the amount of money that was paid was $130,000. So you may say, well, how do you get to $420,000 if she was paid $130,000? And you've maybe have heard Trump say, they didn't commit a crime. They were lawyer fees, blah, blah, blah. It's not a crime, right? Well, that's how they tried to portray it. Now, these fees were disguised as lawyer fees. Now, you can say that if the lawyer paid the porn star and I'm paying the lawyer back, those can go down as lawyer fees. That's going to be up to the jury to decide. But Stormy Daniels was paid this $130,000 to keep her mouth shut. And what I think is so crazy is that she didn't keep her mouth shut, right? She got out of this non-disclosure agreement, because that's what it was, a non-disclosure agreement with $130,000 attached to it. Michael Cohen takes out a loan against his house, tries to hide this from his wife, and pays them after they're beating down the door. Come on, where's the money? Where's the money? So that's why he's all stressed in January, because her attorney they were trying to get the money. This was a money grab for her. She's a porn star or a porn actress. I don't know if she's a star, right? I never heard of her before this. But regardless, so they're trying to get the money back. He pays the money. So they went to the National Enquirer. National Enquirer had paid some monies like this before. They said, look, we ain't paying no more money. Michael Cohen's like, oh my God, I got to pay the money. Trump's like, go ahead, fix it, figure it out. And they come up with this scheme. He finds out, he agrees to the payback. And so in a state like New York, on this income, so this would be income on the repayment, right? So he's paid the money out. Now he wants the money back. So the Trump organization's got to pay him $130,000. If it was just a simple lawyer fee, he would have just paid him the $130,000. We wouldn't have known nothing about this. But that's not what they did. He paid $130,000. The Trump folks did not just pay him $130,000. What they did was they paid him more. They paid $420,000. So how do we get that number? In New York, it is a 50% tax state. So if he got $130,000 and this was income, because Trump's repaying the money back, so they're going to, document it, he would have had to have paid half of that money in taxes. So they gave him the amount that he would have had to pay. So that's how you get that amount of money. Right. So Trump is paying the tax that would have been on the amount of money, plus some extra money. And that's how this gets up there. So he gets a bonus. They pay the taxes on that. And they go to this whole elaborate scheme. They falsify records, all this kind of stuff to make this look like this was just a retainer payment over the course of a year. It's kind of a brilliant thing if you look at it. All right. So they're paying him off in small monthly amounts, which would total out to $420,000. Call it lawyer fees, and that should be the end of it. It's kind of slick, but it is what has gotten him in trouble. He didn't care about his family finding out. He's a scumbucket, Donald Trump. He didn't care about that. He cared about whether this was going to affect him with female voters. And so that's where we are with that case. And the testimony of Michael Cohen is going to continue tomorrow. They're off on Wednesday, and then it will continue on Thursday. But I predict that the prosecution will rest this week. They're going to rest this week. So you got Michael Cohen, and I don't know. This is interesting. Is Trump going to beat this case? Probably. The other cases, he ain't gonna see the light. Those other cases ain't gonna even see the light of day. But that's what that is. Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. TikTok at the Diamond K Show. Do you think Donald Trump is going to jail? No. No, but if you do, I'd like to hear from you. djdiamondk at gmail.com. Of course, you can support the Diamond K Show and ONFIRE-TV via PayPal. .me/Radio on Fire, PayPal.me/Radio on Fire. Of course, on Cash App, $ the Diamond K Show, $ the Diamond K Show. You can become a member today. ONFIRE-TV.com/join. Subscribe on youtube.com/djdiamondk. And of course, for booking or more info, djdiamondk at gmail.com. So we're going to do this. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this debacle at Florida A&M. So some of the so-called smart people, you ever been around so-called smart people and you find out they really ain't that smart? Right, we're going to talk about that right after this 10 seconds.